that everyone has been waiting for apparently for 11 years. And it's gonna be one of the biggest movies of all time, the biggest opening weekend, clearly of all time. And does it live up to the hype? Well, let's go through a spoiler-free version of this review, and let's talk about Avengers Endgame.
It's all about the king, you fall like the rest. Your failure is my success.
Happening right after Infinity War, Avengers Endgame take all the characters, and if you didn't see Infinity War, this is going to be heavy on the spoilers for that movie, not for this movie. And later on we'll have one for the spoilers, because you really need to talk about the spoilers when talking about this movie. But yeah, Thanos did the snap, half of all the life form is dead, and our remaining heroes are dealing with the grief and trying to figure out how and if they can get everyone back and what it means. This movie is a straight up popcorn movie. This movie is done by people who don't think you'll think about what's actually going on. I know a lot of people praise the Russo brothers, but this movie is a lot of nonsense in a lot of different ways. And yes, I'm going to be very vague because this is a non-spoiler review, but let's get the basics out the way. Characters in this movie don't really act inherently to who their characters are. It's going to sound really vague because this is a non-spoiler review, but yeah, some of the choices that are made are very questionable. The story feels like it's broken up into 3 different parts. There's the sequel to Infinity War, there's the heist movie, and then there's the big battle. Do all of them fit together? Not really. There are a couple of transformations for 2 characters at least, where you look at them and go, holy cow, what happened to them? For me at least, none of them felt out of what should have happened after Infinity War, but they were jarring, especially one of them, because one of those characters stays in the same physical form the whole way through. And I'm kind of glad that they did. This movie is a hodgepodge of things. I know a lot of people are going to say they like it and they think, oh, the characters are doing their natural progressions. I don't think so. I think a lot of characters in this movie are acting without any sense to logic on what they would do. I also believe the story of this movie is really a hot mess. I don't think anyone looked at the movie and said, wait, that's an issue, that's an issue, that's an issue, but we'll blind you so much to the fan service. I heard someone say that this isn't cynical fan service. I think it is cynical fan service because they're retracting from you what's actually happening in the movie. I was watching this movie and going, wait, that doesn't make any sense. But then you would have an action beat, you would have a reveal, you would have someone striking a pose and things like that. In many ways, this is actually a very interesting successor to Justice League. The only difference is this actually knew how to do callbacks. And callbacks, there are a plenty in this movie. The whole, I want to say, second part of the movie, but it's kind of hard because this doesn't really go through the 3-act structure, is all about callbacks. And I kind of really find it funny that they make fun of a movie in the second arc of the movie, and then they follow those same rules for that movie, and then by the end of the movie, completely forget those rules. This is a movie that is, like I said, it's a popcorn movie. It's meant to be absorbed and taken out of your system just the same way. This is not a movie that's made to be sit there and analyze all the points, because once you start analyzing the points, you realize this is a whole lot of nonsense. From the starting point in the movie to when the plot actually picks up, and to the ending where you go, wait, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But this movie is full of crowd pleasing moments. This movie is nothing but that. It's moments meant to make you go, to blind you from the fact that the story doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There are characters who you're supposed to feel things for, where you go, I barely know you. And once again, I'm judging this as a movie and not as a serial. I have not seen all 22 MCU movies. I think I've seen maybe 7 or 8. So if someone says, oh, I have built up a relationship with X, Y, and Z character, I haven't, and actually many of the characters by the end of the movie you're supposed to feel for have barely been showcased in any of these movies. So take that. And also, this movie's not really a movie. It's a bunch of sizzle reel, money shots, and moments that you can pause and say, I was there when that happened. Some of them are very good, some of them are not good, including a couple of them that was straight up eye-rolling, i.e. Fast and the Furious style. And that's what this movie was. This movie was a bunch of moments in a movie. Does that make it good? No. Does that make it great? Hell no. Does it make it memorable? Yes, and that's what this movie has. It will be something that will be memorable. And that's why it's breaking numbers, besides the fact that this is a serialized movie. This is a bunch of movies strung together, even if you didn't have to see all of them, and I believe you didn't even have to see like about 8 or 9 of them to understand what's going on in this movie. It did have crowd-pleasing moments. It did have moments where I, was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Including a couple of them involving Captain America. But, yeah, that's all it was. It was fast food. You take it in and it goes out of your body without much notice. The ending was kind of predictable. This movie really didn't do anything to shock me. I kind of saw all the beats as it was going along. This movie has a lot of issues, especially for the ending. I had huge problems with the ending, where for one character at least, if you really think about, once again, the rules that is set up in the end of the first act made no damn sense. I think this movie is definitely a shout out to the current populace now, and being a little bit too much pro-diversity, where just make up a new character, make up a minority in that situation. And that's all I want to say about that. There was this, in the huge fight moment, the money shot in the third act was gorgeous. It was literally a spectacle into itself. There was a couple of moments in that scene, in that fight scene though, where I just didn't care. And also, it was straight up eye rolling. It was obviously shouting out, look at us, We're forward thinking. And the whole time I was thinking, oh, look at you, you are pandering. I didn't like this as much as Infinity War. I like Infinity War a hell of a lot better. But yeah, this is what I thought of the movie. I thought it was okay at best. It was very fan servicey, and if you're not a fan, you're going to be on your own, and you are not alone. I'd give this movie a 7. If this is on anyone's top 10 best movie of the year list, you are obviously carrying this movie along with the other 21 movies, and that's not fair for any other movie that comes out this year. You should be judging this movie by the fact that this is this movie. And I get why people will carry over. My favorite movie of the year so far is something you have to remember that basically hinges on you liking and enjoying the first movie. But this is a bit too much. And this is not even its own movie. I know a lot of people are praising this movie, hyping this movie. I think a lot of people are either A, comic book fans, 2, carrying over a lot of stuff from the other movies to this movie, and just not watching this movie for what it is, and it has a lot of problems. The simple fact that their main focus for the second half completely jars what's going on in this movie is a huge problem for me. And when you stop to think about it for even 1 second, if you want to take that time, just 1 second, you will realize this movie is hugely flawed. It is billed as an epic, and it kind of is, but it's a popcorn epic. So that's it. I give this movie a 7. Yeah, I know a lot of people are going to hate this decision or my rating and my thoughts on the movie, but yeah, it's mine. So disagree with me in the comments below, and later on today we will be coming out with the spoiler version, and Jeff is going to be here to talk about it. So bye.
Here comes